Hi friend, I'm Olivia Smith. Thanks for visiting my YouTube channel, where I share the latest global news every day. You can also read more news on TimeGlitter.com. You can find all the links in the video description below. In case the link isn't working, simply copy and paste the link into your web browser, hit enter, and you're good to go. Now, let's jump into today's news. News headline: Trump asks us Supreme Court to keep election interference case frozen. No details, Anna. Lawyers working for Donald Trump want the top court in the United States to stop his criminal case about his actions to change the 2020 election results for now. They want more time to challenge a recent decision by a lower court that said Trump, who used to be the president of the U.S., is asking the highest court in the country to pause another order from a different court. This order stops him from asking for a full hearing with all the judges involved in the case. President Trump's lawyers, John Sauer, John Lauro, and Greg Singer, wrote in a long petition that Trump's request fits the criteria for the Supreme Court to pause the case while it's being reviewed by all the judges and potentially by the Supreme Court itself, stated the 100-page document. The petition argues that Trump meets the important conditions for the Supreme Court to stop the case temporarily because there's a good chance they'll hear it eventually. Without this pause, Trump's lawyers argue he would suffer serious harm if the trial were to continue. It's fundamental that President Trump's argument of immunity means he shouldn't have to go to trial at all and shouldn't have to deal with the hassle of legal proceedings until his claim is reviewed, the petition emphasized. The filing elaborated on previous arguments Trump's legal team made regarding presidential immunity. They believe this is the best way to delay the trial, as it allows Trump to appeal before the trial starts and automatically delays the proceedings. Trump has been open about his plan to delay his cases, ideally until after the 2024 election in November. He hopes that winning a second term could give him the power to pardon himself or instruct his attorney general to drop the charge. For months, Trump has argued for an expansive interpretation of executive power, claiming he's immune from prosecution because the alleged actions happened while he was president and were part of his presidential duties, according to the special counsel Jack Smith. The argument didn't go well for Donald Trump in the court, overseen by U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan in Washington. She rejected his claim. The same happened when a group of 3 judges at the D.C. Circuit reviewed it. They completely rejected his position. We can't agree with former President Trump's idea that a president can do whatever they want, even commit crimes, without consequences. That goes against the basic principles of how our government works, said the opinion from the 3-judge panel, which all 3 judges agreed on. In essence, if we accepted former President Trump's argument, it would mean the president is above the law and not accountable to anyone, which would damage our system of government, where power is divided between different branches. The opinion we can't say that being president means you're exempt from the law forever. But Trump's lawyers weren't banking on winning the immunity argument. They saw it as a way to delay the trial rather than a winning strategy. It was the only move they could make that would automatically pause the case and allow them to appeal before the trial started. When the D.C. Circuit panel laid out how Trump could use further appeals to keep the case on hold, Trump had to go straight to the Supreme Court without making any other challenges first. The panel said Trump had to ask the Supreme Court by Monday to keep the case paused. The pause would stay in place until the Supreme Court either refused to hear the case or made a decision if they agreed to take it up. This basically stopped Trump from asking for a rehearing and beyond, where all the judges at the D.C. Circuit would reconsider the decision made by the 3-judge. This means the trial proceedings overseen by Judge Chutkan would start up again while Trump waited for the D.C. Circuit to make a decision. During the weekend, Trump's main appellate lawyer, John Sauer, got the paperwork ready for a request to pause the case, according to someone familiar with the situation. The concern lately for Trump's legal team has been whether the Supreme Court would agree to keep the case on hold while Trump made his final appeal. This person said, Even if they agree to pause the case, it's not certain if the Supreme Court will actually decide to hear it. What happens next in court could decide if Trump faces trial for interfering in the federal election before the 2024 presidential election. Recent polls suggest voters might lean more towards the current Democratic president, Joe Biden, who beat Trump in 2020, if Trump is found guilty in this case. If the Supreme Court says no to hearing the case, it goes back to Judge Chutkan in the Federal District Court in Washington. She canceled the trial date set for March 4th, but she's shown she wants to move things forward quick. But if the Supreme Court agrees to hear the case, then the question is how fast they set deadlines and hold hearings, and how quickly they make a decision. If the Supreme Court takes a while to decide, it's less likely the trial will happen before the. How fast the Supreme Court acts is crucial because Judge Chutkan promised Trump he'd have 7 months to prepare for trial, as she originally planned when setting the March 4th trial date. Don't forget to hit the like button, drop a comment, share with others, and subscribe to the YouTube.